You ever wonder why food tasted different back then? Not just better, different, like it meant something more. There was a place where that feeling lived, where families pulled into gravel lots under big metal speakers, where the smell of frying onions mixed with summer night air, the American drive-in theater. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Most of that food? It's gone now. 25 foods that used to be everywhere at drive-ins across America. And today? Most people under 50 have never even heard of them. So buckle up, roll down your window, and let's take a trip back to the snack bar. 1. Tray-served cheeseburgers. The cheeseburger came first. Always. It showed up on a metal tray, the kind that hooked right onto your car door, and it was wrapped tight in wax paper. Grease already soaking through, warm in your hands. You peeled it open slow. The smell hit you first. Beef, melted cheese, onions that had been sizzling on a flat-top grill for hours. The bun was soft, a little sweet, toasted just enough to hold everything together. One bite and you understood. This wasn't fast food, not yet. This was care. This was someone in the back of a tiny snack bar flipping burgers by hand. No timers, no machines, just a spatula and a hot grill and the sound of a movie playing 50 feet away. The cheese was always American, bright yellow. It melted into the burger like it belonged there. And the burger itself? Thin, crispy on the edges, juicy in the middle, the kind of patty that came from real ground beef. Not frozen, not preformed. You ate it in your car, in the dark, with your family next to you. And for just a moment, the world felt right. That burger? That was the beginning of everything. 2. Hot dogs in split-top buns. The hot dog was the backup plan. If you didn't want a burger, if you wanted something fast, if you just needed something to hold while the movie started, and it came in a split-top bun. Not the side-cut buns we use now. These buns opened from the top, like a little pocket, and the hot dog sat inside, snug and warm, like it was meant to be there. The hot dog itself was simple. All beef, usually, steamed until the skin got tight and shiny, then dropped into that bun with a squirt of yellow mustard and maybe some relish if you asked nice. No ketchup, not at the good places. The bun soaked up the steam. It got soft, a little wet, but it never fell apart. Because those split-top buns, they were made for this. Made to hold a hot dog under the stars while you balanced it on your lap and tried not to drop mustard on the seat. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't special, but it was there, every single time. Waiting for you at the snack bar window, warm and ready and exactly what you needed. And somehow, that was enough. 3. Chili dogs with paper boat liners. Then came the chili dog. And everything changed. This wasn't just a hot dog anymore. This was a challenge. A messy, beautiful, impossible-to-eat cleanly challenge. And people loved it. The hot dog came in a paper boat. A little folded liner that tried its best to contain what was about to happen. The dog sat in the bun, and then someone spooned hot chili right on top. Thick chili, the kind with beans and meat and grease that shimmered under the parking lot lights. Then cheese, shredded cheddar, sometimes onions. You picked it up careful, real careful, because one wrong move and that chili was going everywhere. But you didn't care. Because the first bite? Heaven. The chili was warm and rich, a little spicy, a little sweet. The cheese melted into it. The bun got soggy, and the hot dog held it all together. You ate it fast, before it fell apart. And when you were done, your hands were a mess. Your face was a mess. But you were smiling. 4. Loose meat sloppy joes. The sloppy joe was chaos in a bun, and people ordered it anyway. It came on a soft white bun, But instead of a patty, you got a pile of loose ground beef, cooked in a sweet tomato sauce, thick, sloppy, living up to its name. The meat wasn't shaped, it wasn't pressed. It was just spooned onto the bun, dripping, running down the sides before you even picked it up. The sauce was tangy, a little sweet, a little smoky, like ketchup and brown sugar and something you couldn't quite name. You ate it over the tray, over your lap, because this thing did not stay together. It wanted to fall apart, but that was part of the fun. Every bite was different, sometimes more meat, sometimes more sauce, sometimes just bun soaking and all that flavor. And when you finished, you looked down at the wax paper, at the puddle of sauce left behind, and you folded up that paper, and you licked your fingers. 5 French fries in cardboard sleeves. The fries came in a sleeve, not a box, not a bag, a sleeve, thin cardboard, folded at the bottom, grease already coming through in little dark spots, and when you pulled it off the tray, it was warm. The fries inside still steaming. These weren't like fries today. They were thicker, hand-cut sometimes, fried in oil that had been used all night, so they tasted like everything else cooked in that fryer. Onion rings, corn dogs, fish, all mixed into one deep, salty, golden flavor. The fries were crispy outside, soft inside, covered in salt. So much salt. You dumped ketchup right into the sleeve. No plate, no cup. Then you ate them one by one, or grabbed a whole handful and shoved them in your mouth because the movie was starting. The cardboard got soggy, the fries got cold, but you kept eating because they tasted like summer nights and freedom. 6 Onion rings in grease-proof bags. Onion rings were the upgrade. You didn't order them every time. They cost more than fries. But when you did, they came in a grease-proof bag, white paper, folded at the top, and when you opened it, steam poured out, thick and sweet and smelling like fried onions and batter and pure joy. The rings were huge, hand-battered, thick slices of onion dipped in something that puffed up when it hit the oil. The batter was crunchy, and when you bit down, the onion inside was soft, sweet. Hot enough to burn your tongue. Sometimes the onion slipped out. You'd bite down and the whole ring would slide out of the batter, leaving you with an empty shell and a hot onion string. But you ate both. The bag got greasy, your fingers got greasy, everything got greasy. But that was okay, because onion rings were about being good, and they were so good. 7 Grilled cheese sandwiches. The grilled cheese was the safe choice, for kids who didn't like burgers, for people who wanted something simple, for anyone who just needed comfort on bread. And the drive-in grilled cheese? It was perfect. 2 slices of white bread, butter on both sides, grilled on the same flat top as the burgers. So it picked up a little bit of that beef flavor, a little bit of that onion, just enough to make it interesting. And the cheese? Always American. 2 slices, maybe 3 if the cook was feeling generous, melted all the way through, gooey, stretching when you pulled the sandwich apart. It came wrapped in wax paper, cut diagonal, still warm. The bread was golden brown, crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. And when you bit down, the cheese oozed out the sides. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't complicated, but it was right. The kind of sandwich that tasted like home, like Saturday morning, like someone who loved you made it just for you. You ate it slow, savored it. Let the cheese cool just enough so it didn't burn your mouth. And when you finished, you felt full and safe and happy. Because that's what grilled cheese did. It made everything okay, even if just for a little while. But the next one was pure Americana on a stick. 8 Corn dogs. The corn dog was magic. You can't tell me different. A hot dog, on a stick, dipped in cornmeal batter, fried until it was golden and crispy and smelled like a county fair. And at the drive-in, they made them by hand. No frozen bags, no pre-made anything. Someone in the back dipped each dog into thick batter, then dropped it into hot oil, watched it bubble and turn, pulled it out when it was perfect. The outside was crunchy, sweet. The cornmeal batter had a little sugar in it, just enough to make it taste like dessert and dinner at the same time. And the hot dog inside? Still juicy, still salty. The perfect match for all that sweet corn. You held it by the stick, bit down from the top, and the batter cracked, just a little. And the hot dog was right there, waiting. Some people dipped it in mustard, some people ate it plain, but everyone ate it the same way, with a smile. Because a corn dog wasn't just food, it was fun. It was simple. It was everything good about being a kid, even if you weren't a kid anymore. You finished it, licked your fingers, threw the stick in the bag, and you thought about ordering another one. But you didn't, because you knew, deep down, one corn dog was perfect, 2 was greedy. 9. Hamburger steak sandwiches. This one's forgotten now. Most people today don't even know it existed. But back then, the hamburger steak sandwich was a regular. It wasn't a burger. Not really. It was a steak, a thin slab of ground beef, shaped like a patty but bigger, flatter, seasoned with salt and pepper and grilled hard. No cheese, no lettuce, no tomato, just the steak, on a bun, with grilled onions on top. The steak had char on it, black bits from the grill, and it was juicy, so juicy that the buns soaked it all up, got soft, got rich, the onions were cooked down, sweet, almost caramelized, and they melted into the meat, into the bun, into everything. You picked it up, took a bite, and it tasted like a diner, like truck stop food, like something working people ate before a long shift. It was honest food, no tricks, no frills, just beef and onions and bread, and it filled you up, made you feel strong, made you feel like you could do anything. The hamburger steak sandwich wasn't pretty, it wasn't Instagram-worthy, but it was real. And sometimes real is all you need. 10. Chicken fried steak sandwiches, and then, there was the chicken fried steak sandwich. If the hamburger steak was working class, this was royalty. A thin piece of beef, pounded flat, dredged in flour and egg and breadcrumbs, then fried until the outside was crispy and golden and crackling, and they put it on a bun, sometimes with gravy, white gravy, poured right over the top, soaking into the bread, running down the sides. Sometimes plain, just the steak and the bun, and that was enough. You bit down, and the crust cracked, and the beef inside was tender, juicy, soft as butter. It was huge, bigger than the bun, hanging over the edges, and you had to hold it with both hands. Had to commit. The gravy made it messy, made it impossible to eat clean. But you didn't care, because this was a meal. Not a snack, not a side. A meal. You ate it slow, savored every bite. Let the gravy drip onto the wax paper. Let the crust fall onto the tray. And when you finished, you felt like a king. Because for $3.50, you were. Now here's where it gets even better. Because the next food, it came in a box. 11. Fried chicken boxes. Fried chicken at a drive-in. Let that sink in. It came in a box, a small cardboard box, grease-stained, warm, and when you opened it, steam poured out. Inside, 3 pieces, maybe 4 if you were lucky, a drumstick, a thigh, a wing, sometimes a breast. The chicken was fried fresh, right there in the snack bar. You could smell it from your car. That deep, salty, peppery smell. The kind that made your stomach growl even if you just ate. The skin was crispy, dark golden brown, crunchy enough to snap when you bit down. And underneath, juicy, tender, so hot it almost burned your mouth. No sides, no biscuits, just chicken, and you ate it with your hands. Right there in the car. Grease on your fingers, grease on your chin, grease on the steering wheel. The box sat on the tray, the movie played, and you tore into that chicken like it was the last meal on earth, because maybe, just maybe, it was the best fried chicken you'd ever had. Simple, salty, perfect. The kind of chicken that didn't need sauce, didn't need anything. It just needed you, and the night, and the sound of a movie crackling through a metal speaker. 12. Barbecue beef sandwiches. Barbecue beef was different depending on where you were. In Texas, it was brisket. In the Carolinas, pork. In the Midwest, it was just beef, chopped fine, mixed with sauce, piled high on a soft bun. The sauce was sweet, tangy, a little smoky, the kind of sauce that stained the bun red and dripped onto the wax paper and made everything smell like summer cookouts. The beef was tender, falling apart. You didn't need to chew much. It just melted in your mouth. Sometimes they added a pickle on top, a dill chip, cold and crunchy, cutting through all that sweet and smoky richness. You ate it fast, because if you waited, the bun fell apart, soaked through, gave up. But even when it fell apart, you kept eating. Scooped up the beef with your fingers, licked the sauce off your hands. Because barbecue beef wasn't about manners, it was about flavor, about tradition, about a sandwich that tasted like someone's backyard and someone's grandma and someone's secret recipe all mixed into one. You finished it, wiped your hands on a napkin, and smiled. Because that sandwich was love. 13. Fried fish sandwiches. Friday night was fish night. Always. Didn't matter if you were Catholic or not. Didn't matter if you believed or not. On Friday, the drive-in served fried fish sandwiches. The fish was white. Cod, usually. Or haddock. Dipped in batter and fried until the outside was crispy and the inside was flaky and tender. It came on a bun with tartar sauce, thick tartar sauce, the kind with chopped pickles and onions mixed in. Sometimes lettuce, sometimes a slice of cheese, but mostly it was just fish and sauce and bread. You bit down. The batter crunched. The fish fell apart. The tartar sauce oozed out the sides. It tasted like the ocean, like Friday, like tradition. And even if you didn't grow up with fish on Fridays, you understood, because there was something about it, something comforting, something that felt like the whole country was eating the same thing at the same time. You finished the sandwich, crumpled the wrapper, and felt connected to the past, to the people around you, to something bigger than just a fish sandwich, because food does that. It ties us together, even when we don't realize it. 14. Tater tots. Tater tots were new, brand new. They didn't exist until the 1950s, and when they showed up at drive-ins, people went crazy. Little golden nuggets, fried crispy, crunchy on the outside, soft and potatoey on the inside. They came in a paper boat, or sometimes just dumped onto the tray. Hot, salty, perfect. You ate them with your fingers, one by one, or grabbed a handful and shoved them in your mouth because they were small and you were hungry and nobody was judging. They tasted like French fries, but better, more fun, more cute. Kids loved them. Adults loved them. Everybody loved them, because tater tots were easy. They were happy. They were the kind of food that made you feel like everything was going to be okay. You finished the pile, licked the salt off your fingers, and thought about ordering more, but you didn't, because the next thing on the tray was calling your name. 15. Pickle spears in wax paper. The pickle spear, simple, cold, perfect. It came wrapped in wax paper, a big dill spear. Crunchy, sour. So sour it made your mouth pucker. You didn't order it by itself. It came with something, with a burger, with a sandwich, with fries. But once you had it, you couldn't ignore it. You peeled back the paper, took a bite, and your whole face woke up. The sourness cut through the grease, through the salt, through everything heavy and rich you'd been eating. It was a reset button, a palate cleanser, a little piece of sharpness in the middle of all that softness. And when you finished it, you felt better, lighter, ready for the next bite. The pickle spear didn't get glory, it didn't get attention, but it did its job, every single time, and sometimes that's all a food needs to do. Now things are about to get a little wild, because the next food, it changed everything. 16. Nacho chips with warm cheese sauce. Nachos at a drive-in. Sounds normal now, right? But back in the 1970s, this was new. Nachos were just starting to spread across America, and drive-ins picked them up fast. They came in a paper tray, tortilla chips, thick ones, fried fresh, still warm, and on top, cheese sauce, not shredded cheese, not real cheese, cheese sauce, bright orange, warm, poured right over the chips from a pump dispenser. It was smooth, creamy, a little salty, a little fake-tasting, but in the best way. You grabbed a chip. It was soft from the cheese. You bit down. The chip crunched, the cheese stretched, and you went back for another and another. Because nachos were fun. They were messy. They were shareable. You passed the tray around the car. Everyone grabbed a chip. Everyone got cheese on their fingers. And nobody cared. Because this was new. This was exciting. This was the future of drive-in food. And the future tasted pretty damn good. 17. Popcorn in paper bags. Popcorn at the drive-in was different. It didn't come in buckets. Not yet. It came in paper bags. White bags, folded at the top, grease already seeping through the bottom. The popcorn was warm, buttery. So buttery that your fingers turned yellow after 3 bites. And salty. So salty you needed a drink after every handful, but you kept eating. Because popcorn was part of the deal, part of the experience. You couldn't watch a movie without it. The bag crinkled, the car filled with the smell of butter and salt. And you reached in, over and over, until your hand hit the bottom and there was nothing left but kernels and butter residue. You crumpled the bag, tossed it onto the tray. And your fingers? Still greasy. Your lips? Still salty. Your heart? Still happy. Because popcorn wasn't just food. It was the sound of a good night, the taste of a memory, the feeling of home, even when home was a car, in a parking lot, under the stars. 18. Milkshakes in paper cups with dome lids. The milkshake was the crown jewel, thick, cold, sweet. It came in a paper cup, not plastic, paper, with a dome lid. The kind that bulged at the top because the shake was so thick they had to mound it high. You stuck a straw through the little X on top, and you pulled hard, because this shake didn't come easy. It was thick, like ice cream that hadn't melted yet. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, sometimes a mix. The first sip was cold. So cold it hurt your teeth, but you kept going. Because the flavor? Perfect. Sweet but not too sweet. Creamy but not heavy. Rich but somehow light. You sipped slow, made it last. Because a milkshake wasn't just a drink. It was an event. And when you got to the bottom, you pulled off the lid, scraped the sides with your straw, got every last drop, because wasting a milkshake, that was a crime. The cup went on the tray, empty, sticky, and you sat back, full, happy, content, because that shake made everything right. 19. Root beer floats. But if you wanted something even better than a milkshake, you got a root beer float. It came in a plastic cup, clear, so you could see the ice cream floating in the root beer, melting, mixing, creating that perfect brown and white swirl. You got a spoon and a straw, the straw for the root beer, the spoon for the ice cream. You took a sip, cold, fizzy, sweet. The root beer had that deep, spicy flavor, like sassafras and vanilla and mystery. Then you took a bite of ice cream, creamy, smooth, starting to melt into the soda, and you went back and forth. Sip, bite, sip, bite, until the ice cream was gone and all that was left was root beer-flavored cream at the bottom. And you drank that too, every last drop, because a root beer float was happiness in a cup, childhood in a cup, summer nights and first dates and laughter in a cup. You finished it, set the cup on the tray, and you sighed, because it was over, and you wished it wasn't. But the next one was even simpler, and somehow just as magical. 20. Ice cream cones at drive-ins. Ice cream cones. At a drive-in. Sounds risky, right? And it was, because the cone started melting the second it left the snack bar, and you had to eat it fast. Real fast. Vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, sometimes swirl. The ice cream was soft serve, swirled high on top of a sugar cone. Tall, wobbly, threatening to tip over at any second. You licked it, fast, around and around, trying to keep it from dripping onto your hand. But it always did. The ice cream melted, ran down your fingers, dripped onto your lap, onto the seat. And you laughed, because that's what you did. You laughed, and you licked, and you kept going, until you got to the cone. Crunchy, sweet, the last bite, and then it was over. Your hand was sticky, your face was sticky, everything was sticky, but you were smiling, because ice cream cones at a drive-in? That was bravery, that was commitment, that was living. 21. Fried pies, and then for dessert, fried pies. Oh my God, fried pies, not baked, fried, little half-moon pockets of dough, stuffed with apple filling, or cherry, sealed at the edges, then dropped into hot oil until they puffed up and turned golden brown. They came in wax paper, still warm, still crispy. You picked one up, bit down, the crust cracked, flaky, buttery, and inside, hot fruit filling, sweet, thick, almost molten. It burned your tongue, but you didn't care, because fried pies were magic. They tasted like a county fair, like a church potluck, like someone's grandma standing over a stove with a big pot of oil. You ate it slow, savored every bite, let the filling cool just enough. And when you finished, your fingers were sticky, your lips were sticky, and you wanted another one, but you didn't get another one, because one fried pie was enough. One fried pie was everything. 22. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now here's the one that surprises people. Peanut butter and jelly. At a drive-in. Why? Because kids. Not every kid wanted a burger. Not every kid liked hot dogs. Some kids just wanted what they knew. And what they knew was PB&J. So the snack bar made them. White bread, peanut butter on one side, jelly on the other, pressed together, cut diagonal, wrapped in wax paper, simple, safe, familiar. The peanut butter was thick, creamy, stuck to the roof of your mouth. And the jelly? Grape, always grape. Sweet, a little tart. The bread was soft, fresh. The kind that squished down when you bit it. And kids ate them, happy, quiet, content. Because sometimes you don't need fancy. You don't need new. Sometimes you just need what feels like home. And a PB&J, that was home, no matter where you were. 23 potato chips in cellophane bags, potato chips in a bag. Sounds boring, right? But back then, it was different. The chips came in cellophane bags, clear, crinkly. You could see the chips inside, big, thick, hand-cut, some of them. You ripped open the bag. The smell hit you. Salt, oil, potato. You reached in, grabbed a chip, bit down, crunch. Loud, satisfying, the kind of crunch that made you smile. The chips were salty, greasy, perfect. You ate them one by one, or by the handful, crunching, chewing, reaching for more. The bag got smaller, your fingers got greasier. And when you hit the bottom, crumbs, tiny broken pieces covered in salt. And you tipped the bag, poured those crumbs right into your mouth. Because wasting chips? Never. You crumpled the bag, tossed it, and you felt satisfied. Because sometimes the simplest things are the best things. 24 ham and cheese sandwiches on white bread, ham and cheese, basic, plain, predictable, but at a drive-in, somehow special. 2 slices of white bread, a slice of ham, a slice of cheese, maybe some mayo. That's it. No lettuce, no tomato, no mustard, just ham, cheese, bread. It came wrapped in wax paper. Cool, not warm, because it wasn't grilled, it wasn't toasted, it was just made, and you ate it. Because it was there, because it was easy, because sometimes you didn't want anything complicated. You just wanted a sandwich. The ham was salty, thin, deli style. The cheese was mild, American, probably. The bread was soft, fresh. And together? It worked. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't memorable. But it was enough. And sometimes, enough is all you need. 25 window tray meatloaf sandwiches. And finally, the one nobody talks about anymore. The cold meatloaf sandwich. Yeah, you heard that right. Some drive-ins made meatloaf, big loaves, cooked earlier in the day, then sliced cold, thick slices, and put them on white bread, sometimes with ketchup, sometimes with mayo, sometimes plain, and they served it cold. Sounds weird, right? But it worked. The meatloaf was dense, savory, a little sweet from the ketchup baked on top. The bread soaked up the flavor. Got soft. You ate it, and it tasted like leftovers, like Sunday dinner the next day, like your mom's kitchen. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't pretty, but it was honest, real. The kind of food working people ate, the kind of food that didn't apologize for being simple, and when you finished it, you felt full. Not just in your stomach, in your heart. Because that sandwich was a reminder that food doesn't have to be fancy to be good. It just has to be real. 25 foods, 25 pieces of a world that's gone now. The drive-ins are mostly closed. The snack bars are torn down. The metal trays are in antique shops. The wax paper is in museums. But the memories? Those are still here. In the taste of a cheeseburger that reminds you of summer. In the smell of fried pies that takes you back to being 6 years old. In the sound of a milkshake being slurped through a paper straw. Food is memory. And these 25 foods? They were America's memory. They were our memory. They were the taste of a time when things were simpler. When a family could pile into a car. When you could watch a movie under the stars. When the food didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be there. And it was. Every single time. So the next time you bite into a burger, or lick an ice cream cone, or smell popcorn, think about the drive-in. Think about the people who ate there, who laughed there, who fell in love there. And remember, because some things are worth remembering. And drive-in food, that's one of them. If this brought back a memory, drop it in the comments. Tell me what you ate. Tell me what you miss. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button, because there's a lot more where this came from. A lot more food, a lot more history, a lot more heart. Thanks for watching, and thanks for remembering with me.